Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we get closer and closer to the redemption of the children of Israel, we are going to see some extremely strange things. We're going to see that some people are going to make some decisions about who it is they truly want to follow and serve, and some decisions are being made right around us, and we have to accept those decisions for what they are. A lot of times sometimes we're not able to receive something because we don't want to accept what something is actually capable of. It's like excuse me, when people have a dog, and the dog is nice to them, it's they just can't believe that the dog would bite somebody else. They can't believe that something like that would happen. And when you deny what is right in front of you, it is going to cause us some serious problems as this increased demonic presence continues to grow here on the earth, because the adversary and his angels have to be kicked out, and they are looking for bodies to inhabit that are going to push their doctrine. There are leaders that have already taken those oaths to follow the adversary, the devil, and they are aggressively teaching his doctrine. And we have to be strong enough to make the decision of what it is we're going to deal with. But brother, would you read the oracles and entreat the angel that stands at the door to come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence?
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. That all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim, for Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right. It is written, be not deceived. Evil communication corrupts good manners. For this reason, we have to be careful how we hear, what we hear. We must remember that it was in the garden where another oral law was introduced by the adversary. This secondary oral law was in direct contradiction to the law or commandment given by Yahweh, the creator of all things. The adversary, the devil, has scoured the earth and acquired some first-round draft picks among men. He has given them substance and charged them with teaching his doctrine. We must put our whole armor on, and we must remember that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, because it is spiritual wickedness in high places that we must fight against. We're going to begin today's sermon in Isaiah chapter 49. Isaiah chapter 49, and we're going to begin with verses 1 through 7. And today's sermon is entitled Lucifer and the Law. Lucifer and the Law. Isaiah chapter 49, and we're going to begin at verse 1.
Listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken, you people, from far. Yahweh hath called me from the womb, from the bowels of my mother hath he made me mention of my name.
Has he made mention of my name? So there are some of us that from the very point that we were conceived, Yahweh already had a plan for us. And at the end of the day, you want to be predestined. The predestined people can't mess it up if they want to. If you get off the path switch for you. Something changed. He changed everything that's going on with your path so that it matches what you were created for. Understand, Israel was created to be Yahweh's servant. This is why we are in servitude all over the world. You were created to be a servant. So one or two things are going to have to happen. You're either going to worship and serve Yahweh, or you're going to serve your enemies. But you were created to be a servant. See, when you don't understand what it was you were created for, this is why everybody keeps offering us praise and worship. Praise and worship. Sounds like a good thing. The problem is you weren't created for that. You were created to be a servant. So you're going to have to make a decision who it is you're going to serve. Because when you don't serve Yahweh, he steps back and lets you serve the adversary of the devil. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand has he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver has he hid me.
He has made my mouth like a sharp sword. This is why the true teachers of Yahweh, people have a real hard time dealing with them. Because their mouths are like sharp swords when it comes down to this word. And people like to gather in congregations where they say absolutely nothing but nice things about you all day. No matter what evil you're doing. This is what the people like to gather together to hear. But at the end of the day, because they haven't heard that truth, it only hurts them more at the end when the truth is revealed. Because the truth is going to be revealed sooner or later. Go ahead.
And said unto me, You are my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. Then I said, I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for naught, and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with Yahweh, and my work with my Elohim.
He says, you are my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. So my glory is directly connected to you. So how you going to not walk right? How are you going to not walk in the law that Yahweh has given us? His glory is connected to you. He's the one that gave you this name. Go ahead.
And now, says Yahweh, that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him, though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of Yahweh, and my Elohim shall be my strength. And he said, It is a light thing that you should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles, that you may be my salvation onto the end of the earth.
Right. Automatically, Yahweh created all the families of the earth. So the belief that he's only going to save Israel makes no sense whatsoever. And this book does not back up that twisted doctrine. Go ahead.
Thus saith Yahweh, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to him whom man despise, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers. Kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of Yahweh that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose you. Thus saith Yahweh, in an acceptable time have I heard you, and in a day of salvation have I helped you. And I will preserve you, and give you for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages.
If Israel is not saved, the rest of the world can't be saved. So you have to understand what the adversary is doing. The adversary is tricking the other nations, the other people, to believe that, hey, he's going to give them this substance, he's going to do all of these things, but while he focuses on destroying the children of Israel. Here's the problem. If he destroyed the children of Israel, nobody else gets their salvation. So he's tricking them into helping him destroy us. But afterwards, they get destroyed too. Because nobody makes it if Israel doesn't make it. So he's a double agent in this thing. He's working with them and against them at the same time. Go ahead.
It says, chapter 49 and verse 9, that you may say to the prisoners, go forth. To them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in all high places. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he that has mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water shall he guide them. And I'll make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and, lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains. For Yahweh has comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion said, Yahweh has forsaken me, and my Adonai has forgotten me.
Of course, because, we reside in this current flesh, and you look, since 70 AD, our people have been going through tremendous troubles. So, of course, Israel would say, Yahweh must have forgotten about us. Look at all the things that we've had to endure. Go ahead.
Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget you. Behold, I have graven you upon the palms of my hands. Your walls are continually before me.
Praise Yahweh that he's not like man. It doesn't take man but a few seconds to forget. See? Go ahead.
Your children shall make haste, your destroyers, and they that made you waste shall go forth of you. Lift up your eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together, and come to you. As I live, saith Yahweh, you shall surely clothe you with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on you, as a bride does.
Right. All these are going to come together to you, instead of us having to gather to everybody else. This is how Yahweh is going to get him some glory, when he shows the whole earth. You remember all of these people that you have looked down upon all this time? Oh yeah, by the way, those are my people. Go ahead.
For your waste and your desolate places and the land of your destruction shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants, and they that swallowed you up shall be far away. The children which you shall have, after you have lost the other, shall say again in your ears, the place is too strait for me.
The children which you shall have, after you have lost the other, shall say again in your ears, the place is too strait for me. We need some more place. We need some more land. So it is not something that we can comprehend with our fleshly mind. But everything that Yahweh takes away from you, he's going to give back. Job lost all of his kids and got every last one of them back. Go ahead.
Give place to me that I may dwell. Then shall you say in thine ear, in thy heart, who has begotten me these? Seeing I have lost my children, and am desolate, a captive, and removing to and fro. And who has brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. These, where had they been? Thus said the Adonai, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people, and they shall bring your sons in their arms, and your daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders.
You ever watch those things on TV when they talk about come help some children? And they always show, the little black kid hungry and whatnot. Then you go and watch the stars, and you see people like Madonna, and they got like 3-4 black kids. Angelina Jolie, they get, what? Yahweh, no. Those children go over there. Go get all these kids. So see, you might be losing something over here, and Yahweh like, no. You got a child in Germany right now. Well, I got a child in Germany. I don't know nobody in Germany. Don't worry about it. Bring that child, now sit them right there. That's what they're supposed to be. See, we are scattered, but Yahweh hasn't forgotten where every last seed of the house of Israel is located. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And kings shall be your nursing fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers. They shall bow down to you with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of your feet. And you shall know that I am Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me.
They shall not be ashamed that wait for me. But see, here's the issue. Some of us can't wait because we're watching all of the things that the nations are saying and are doing. We flip through the channels and we watch the televangelists, and they say, oh, y'all doing all that unnecessary stuff. Matter of fact, because you even trying to keep the commandments, you can't have any faith. Why are you trying to keep the commandments? They shall not be ashamed that wait for me. You have to know that Yahweh doesn't show himself until the end. So he gives everybody an opportunity to run off at the mouth. He gives everybody an opportunity to make their stand and say what it is they gonna do, what they ain't gonna do. Then he shows himself and he says, I'm going to get my glory through you. But I'm going to step back and let everybody say everything that they got to say against you. See, there's some people that are going to write, as it is written in this book, they will come against you as a judgment to them. So they think they bringing judgment to you, but they actually coming against you so judgment can be placed upon them. Go ahead.
Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? But thus saith Yah, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered.
The captives of the mighty. So he gonna go to all the rich and strong, all that power. Give me that little boy and that little girl, and go carry them over there. Those are my sons and my daughters. Go put them in their right place. Go ahead.
For I will contend with him that contends with you, and I will save your children. And I'll feed them that oppress you with their own flesh, and they shall be drunken with their own blood, as with sweet wine. And all flesh shall know that I, Yahweh, am your Savior and your Redeemer, the mighty one of Yaakov.
They're going to know that because they're going to witness these things with their very eyes and say, these people don't physically have the power to do this by themselves. So Yahweh has to be in this scenario. How are they able to do this? Isaiah chapter 56. And let's start that at verse 1.
Thus said Yahweh, keep your judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that does this, and the son of man that lays hold on it, that keeps the Shabbat from polluting it, and keeps his hand from doing any evil.
Right. So when you have televangelists tell you, don't worry about keeping those the Big Ten. Don't worry about trying to keep the law. The Sabbath is the fourth commandment. They have turned commandments into suggestions. See? So you got, and how they do that is now even the churches are trying to back their way out of serving the adversary, the devil. And you can't ease your way out of the devil's prison. You got to declare that you're going to come out of the devil's prison. So you have churches that are when they get ready to buy them a new building, they don't build the building with the three triangles and the phallic symbol like the rest of them do. You'll look, and now the churches are starting to be built different. Then they'll try to pull away from the Baptist convention and just, change the name. So they slowly trying to back out of that covenant with Lucifer, but you can't slowly back out the covenant. You have to back all the way out of the covenant. Then they start offering Saturday service optional. Why you got an optional Saturday service? Right. They want to back out of that. They want to sneak out the covenant, like the devil don't see him, trying to sneak out the back door. I see you. No, he the one that done gave you all that money and pomp and circumstance so you can get that big pretty building, so you can drive them nice cars. You're not gonna slide out of that covenant. Go ahead.
Neither let the son of the stranger that has joined himself to Yahweh speak, saying, Yahweh has utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, Behold, I am a dry tree.
Neither let the son of the stranger that has joined himself to Yahweh speak, saying, Yahweh has utterly separated me from his people. So these people who are out teaching this false tribal breakdown chart and teaching that no Gentiles are going to be saved and none of the other nations are going to be saved, they're not getting this out of this book. They're getting this out of their own twisted mind. Go ahead.
For thus saith Yahweh unto the eunuchs that keep my Shabbats, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even unto them will I give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahweh to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants.
To be his servants, not to worship and praise him. Because see, that's all we want to do is sing and dance all day. So that's what we think. We really doing something for the Creator when we singing and shouting and running up and down the aisles. See? But see, you need to do that when you know you're not going to fix none of your mess. You need to shout it out when you know you ain't going to fix nothing. Because you know you're finna go do the same hell you just got through doing yesterday. Go ahead, man.
Everyone that keeps my Sabbath from polluting it and takes hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain.
Right, covenant, agreement. See? But we don't want to be bound. We don't want to make an agreement. Go ahead.
And make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar. For mine house shall be called an house of prayer for all people.
For what kind of people?
All people.
Which people?
All people.
All Israel?
All people.
Oh, okay. So he said everybody. Oh, okay. All right, go ahead, brother.
The Adonai, which gathers the outcasts of Israel, says, Yet will I gather others to him, beside those that are gathered unto him. All you beasts of the field, come to devour. Yes, all you beasts in the forest. His watchmen are blind.
Blind.
They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. Sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber.
Right. There's something wrong with a dog that don't do nothing but lay down. They don't bark. People come in. It don't even tell you. What in the purpose is this dog get? Well, why is this dog here? You get up, strangers walking around picking up your stuff, and your dog just sitting there. Hey, man. Well, I pointed them to the good stuff. That wasn't even the good stuff over there. Until you want to open the top drawer. That's where the good stuff at. What kind of dog are you? Go ahead.
Yes, they are greedy dogs.
Greedy dogs. And that's what we like. Greedy. And we like to proclaim the greed of them dogs that we follow. My pastor got a Bentley. Your pastor ain't got no Bentley. Then we brag about things that our pastors possess. See? See, we want to live through them. I bet it's nice being in that car too. Look at that. They got curtains in the car. Oh, we love to have it so. Dumb, greedy dogs. Go ahead.
Yes, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough.
Never. The $20 million jet ain't good enough. This old jet, sometimes I hit the air. Well, you are in the sky, ain't you? You know. I mean, don't you think you ought to hear some wind? No, I need a $60 million one that'll go faster, and you won't hear a sound. Okay. All right. Interesting. Go ahead, brother.
And they are shepherds that cannot understand.
Mm-hmm.
They all look to their own way.
Right.
Everyone for his gain from his quarter.
Right. Everyone for his gain. Everything is on sale. And just in case you run out of money, we got an ATM located up front. Everything for sale. Read 2 verses in 2 hours. And then got a DVD on sale for $45, so if you want to hear the rest of the message. Right. And we love to have it so. Go ahead.
Come you, say they, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as this day, and much more abundant.
Abundant. God wants you to live abundantly. Right. But they're taking all your money, so they're living abundantly. See, all the abundance is at their house. See? Hypocrisy, saying don't deal with the law, but tell everybody, come bring the tithe according to the law. Wait a minute, man, there's something seriously wrong with this hypocrisy. Let's go to our 2 Corinthians chapter 11. So you have to watch and see what the devil is doing. And you got to be bold enough to call the devil out for who he is. So if you're just walking around looking for somebody in a pitchfork with a tail, you're going to miss the devil. You're going to miss him. Because the devil is a fine looking thing. Fine looking thing. And he makes sure he get the top draft picks. But see, this is how Yahweh gonna get him some glory. He said, all right, you go ahead and pick your first round draft pick. I'm gonna get the UPS man. I'm gonna get that dude that work on them cars. I'm gonna get the guy that work in that little factory. I'm gonna get this little wire runner. I'm gonna get the sister who do hair. And watch what I do with them. So you go ahead and get your PhD having people. You get all of them. Watch what I do with the UPS man. Watch this. That's how he gonna get some glory. Because then they gonna look and say, man, you work for UPS. How you know this? Right. That's how Yahweh gonna get him some glory. Through regular people. So you go ahead and let the adversary pick his first round draft pick. We gonna tear all of them up. They got 50,000 people. They still outnumbered. Go ahead, brother. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, let's start at verse 13.
For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of the Mashiach.
Right. So they're fake teachers. Remember, the adversary has always tried to make his teaching look like it is the same as the teaching of Yahweh. That was the whole thing between him and Yahshua. So now he has his own leaders to do just that. Go ahead.
And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
There's some people that say, I talked to God last night. No, you talked to the devil last night. Go ahead.
Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness.
Right. See, as it is written, it's going to come a time that they will be deceived. If it was possible, even the very elect shall be deceived. So they walking around proclaiming all these great things, not knowing the whole time they talking to the adversary, the devil. Not knowing the whole time they being directed by the devil. Because do understand, he is an angel, by the way. You do understand that, right? I think we kind of miss that. We'll be so happy. I talked to an angel. Yeah, well, you might want to ask him some questions. What? Excuse me. What side you on? What kind of angel are you? Because there's a whole army of them that are against Yahweh. So you just can't jump up and be happy because an angel talked to you. Lucifer got angels. And they have committed that they're going to fight against Yahweh. Go ahead.
Whose end shall be according to their works. I say again, let no man think me a fool. If otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little. That which I speak it not after the Adonai, but as it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting. Seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also.
Right, y'all running off at the mouth. Let me run off at the mouth a little bit. Go ahead.
For you suffer fools gladly, seeing you yourselves are wise. For you suffer, if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face. I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak. Howbeit, whereinsoever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am also bold.
Uh-huh.
Are they Hebrews?
Are they Hebrews?
So am I.
So am I.
Are they Israelites? So am I.
Are they Israelites? So am I. People say, what's a Hebrew Israelite? What book you read? Without the Hebrew Israelites, there is no Christian doctrine whatsoever. Who you think taught them? But because people always want to take the power and name things after themselves, and this is something that conquerors have always done. Once they conquer a land, they name it what they want to name it. But you don't get to name Yahweh's people. You don't have that right. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Yet go to your uncle and say you're a Hebrew Israelite. What is that? Never heard of no Hebrew Israelite. Right, but you believe in the New Testament, right? So how is it you never heard of a Hebrew Israelite? Messiah didn't call himself a Christian. Other people called him that. That's something other people decided to place on him. Matter of fact, the Messiah ain't even heard the term. That term wasn't even used while he was living. But people want to tell you, if you're not what they are, then you must be in some kind of cult. Go ahead, bro.
You know, even with that Christian doctrine, what it says they were first called Christians at
In
Antioch.
Antioch. Yep.
We had a disciple that was called nigger. We was also called coons. Are we out here in a religion called coonism?
Hey, bro. I wouldn't doubt there's some coonism going on. I mean, hey, bro, people will do the damnedest things, bro. You know, they probably got a lead coon standing outside, you know, ushering in other coons. I can't tell you. Because we've gotten real strange. See, once we get indoctrinated to something, we'll take on anything. Anytime you can read a book, man, and the book is telling you what a tongue is, and somebody can still tell you that you can just utter out of your mouth some foolishness. Anytime you read the book and it says it's a gift of the Spirit, but this man in College Park said he got a class that he can teach you how to do it. Hey, man. You know how many people sitting over there believing that mess? The book say one thing, but you gonna believe what come out of his mouth? It is a gift of the Spirit. If he has power over the gift of the Spirit, he's telling you that he must be Christ. How do you have power over the gift of the Spirit? That's not possible. Go ahead, man.
Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of the Mashiach? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths often. Of the Yehudis 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. 3 times was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. 3 times I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep.
Now, we would have told that story. See, you hear the way in which he's saying, he's actually bragging about his trouble. He didn't say, now this would have been 5 times as a Jew I received 40 stripes. 3 times was I beaten with rods. I've suffered of my own countrymen. He bragging about the stuff he's gone through. We be learning. He's getting spiritual power from the things that he's going through. We be crying. Woe is me. I woke up in the morning and I said, oh my goodness, I wish it was still night. See, he know he working off some of that stuff that he did back and back. See? So he bragging about this stuff. Yeah, man, boy, I went through it, Jack. Yes, sir. Yeah, boy, they tried to beat a brother down now, boy. He's like, why you happy? Because I remember when I was beating somebody back there, boy. See, our problem is we forget that stuff that's in our rearview mirror, that stuff that we done left behind. That's why he bragging. He was standing there when they executed righteous brothers. So when it come time for him, he's taking it gladly. Next. What about who want this next? I've been dealing with all kind of trouble. Who next? See, he know we got some stuff to work off. Our problem is we done forgot that we got stuff to work off. And if you listen to these people on Sunday morning, they tell you how everything's supposed to be all smooth. They ain't working off nothing. So when that bill come due, that bill gonna be heavy. See, they give you that little small little charge card and they tell you, look, all you gotta do is swipe it. And you can keep swiping. Swiping. Just swipe that thing, just swipe it. What the? I'm gonna go in the store and I ain't gonna pull out no money. I'm just gonna give zoop. What is it? Then one day that bill gonna come. What happened? That's from all your swiping. There's going to be a bill that's going to show up after you keep swiping. See? That's what them people being set up for on Sunday morning. Sooner or later, a bill is going to come due. Go ahead, brother.
No, I just wanted to say as far as, a lot of people, when they go through certain trouble, they think Yahweh is not with them anymore. That's not the case.
Right. Good point, bro. And for those who couldn't hear him, he said, a lot of people believe that when they go through troubles, that Yahweh is not with them anymore, and that's not the case. There are certain troubles, man, that are going to make us stronger. Yahweh could have told Cephas and could have kept him from denying him. He said, "You gonna deny me 3 times?" He could have just stopped him from doing it, but in the process of him denying him 3 times, what did it do? It made him stronger. Look at what he did after he failed. Look at what he did after he denied the Mashiach. His work got stronger. His direction got stronger. So why would Yahweh keep something from you that's eventually going to make you stronger? That makes no sense. Go ahead, bro.
2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 26.
We might have to turn on some air up in here. Hey man, it's some strange weather going on. 1 minute we freezing. All right. If y'all ain't figured out that we need to be getting our bonus ready, there's something wrong. When y'all realize a couple weeks ago it was colder in Atlanta than it was in Toronto, Canada. You need to just rattle that around in your brain for a second. That it was colder here in the south. Birds supposed to fly south for the one. Poor bird probably confused as hell. Birds all the way up in Canada. What the hell going on up in here, bro? I can't. They probably done jumped on the lead bird. He done lost his position. Cause they told him, man, your GPS ain't working, bro. You done flew us to the wrong area. No, man, I tell you, this is the South. But why? It's colder here. Trees confused. Stuff button all in the wrong time. It start, then stop. You look up, all of a sudden the tree goes, oh man, it was real cold, and then it got warm. All right, well, bloom. Oh, wait, maybe not. Then you got all these people. This is how we should keep the new year according to the green year in Israel. Man, we can't even figure out what the hell going on right here down the street. This is the strangest weather ever. It is some strange things going on, and we ain't seen nothing yet. Go ahead, brother. Where you at?
2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 26. In journeyings often, in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils by mine own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, in watching often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness.
So how many people fast when they have some things going on? In fastings often. Folks say, you know, I got some real issues. Sure you do. Go ahead, man.
Beside those things that are without, that which comes upon me daily, the care of all the churches. Who is weak? And am I not weak? Who is offended? And I burn not. If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities.
If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. Because I know I am getting some things put on my account for every last one of these things I go through. See, let us attach that thought process to what goes on at a job. See, we at a job and they got a pay sheet. You know, one brother is digging a hole. It's, man, this hole is, 2 feet deep. Another brother said, my hole 5 feet. Well, they got a little chart up there saying, well, every foot you get $100. But the 5-foot hole, he ain't sitting there complaining. Because he realized, well, I got $5 I can do this, boy. You see the side of the hole? Do you see the side of this hole? Right. Our problem is, we don't realize you're going to get paid for this. Who argues about a paycheck? Those that don't know they finna get one. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. And it's hard to see the glory of Yahweh when we're going through something. This is why it says, they shall not be ashamed, those that wait on me. So then the adversary, the devil, wants to try to get into that process and catch you before the whole fulfillment of those things come to pass. See? He needs to poison you about Yahweh's process. He says, I'm going to bring you through the fire. You see, the fire don't burn up precious metals. It only burn up wood, hay, and stubble. It made precious metals better. Matthew chapter 5, and let's start that, let's begin with 1 through 12.
And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain. And when he was set, his disciples came on to him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted.
Now, of course, all of the red writing is the Messiah. So this is what this part is here. Go ahead.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. They told us that all the righteous people go to heaven. The Messiah said the meek shall inherit the earth. What's taught on Sunday morning is that you're going to go to heaven. Yahweh created a paradise for man on earth. Man then messed up the paradise and then think that he gets to go where Yahweh and the angels are. No, you already have a paradise. What you're going to do is clean the paradise that I gave you. That's what you're going to do. You want to see a rotten child? Every time they mess up something, go get them something else. See how rotten and twisted that child end up being. You already given a paradise. He ain't giving you now another one. You gonna clean the one you got. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of Elohim. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
And that's why you suffer things even going amongst your families. When you say, hey, ain't gonna be no pork in this house. Oh, here come that persecution. What? I mean, if you don't eat pork, what that got to do with me? It's my house. You're not gonna bring no pig in here. Well, God made the pig. Yeah, he made it to eat garbage outside. And that's where it's gonna eat the garbage. You're not gonna bring the garbage eater in my house. See? That's part of your persecution. But we take that. We don't have any choice but to take that. Because we know what thus says Yahweh our Elohim, and we are going to abide by those things. Go ahead, bro.
Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
Right. So do you understand why those things are being said against you? They said the same things against the Messiah. Go ahead.
Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
So understand what Saul was then talking about then. He realized that he was storing up treasures in heaven. Rejoice. So wait a minute now. Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely. They're going to tell all kind of lies against you. He said, rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. How many people know they got a paycheck waiting for them? Go ahead.
You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it gives light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Think not that I'm come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Now, Creflo said the other day that the devil is trying to get you to keep the law. Now, you're going to have to learn how to recognize a minister of Satan when you see one. And it ain't going to be based on how nice their clothes are or any of that. You have to listen to the doctrine that come out of their mouths. The devil is trying to get you to keep the law. These are the words that proceeded out of his mouth. Now, you got 20,000 people sitting over there, and that's just one place. And they got several other places. And our people are actually cheering when we hear these things. Because, see, we then see it as an easier path. Okay? Now, these were his words. The Messiah says, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So now people say, well, he must have fulfilled the law because it's all done away with, so says my pastor. Read.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
Till all be fulfilled. And we already know everything has not been fulfilled. So then the smallest iota has not been taken away from the law. So then we see that you have Christian preachers who have made war against Yahweh's law. So what they have effectively done, they are letting people know openly that they have chosen to work for the adversary, the devil. And we just don't accept it for what it is. Go ahead.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
Least commandments. See, there's a reason why. See, some people don't make the correlation that Creflo has attacked the law, and then secondarily he said, don't even worry about trying to keep the Big Ten. Well, there's a reason why. Law and commandments are synonymous. The people don't necessarily know that, though. So there are people that'll say, hey, that law is nailed to the cross, but then at the same time, there are other people that'll say, well, we still believe in the commandments. Well, he has to down them both because they're both the same thing. But a lot of people don't know that. So that's kind of done in a real slick, underhanded fashion. But we're going to go through some definitions here so you see what we're talking about. Go ahead.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so.
Right, they teaching men to break commandments. Go ahead.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven because he's not going to be there. Go ahead.
But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Right. And the scribes and Pharisees were hypocrites. So if we look at, there's several different words for law. So when we look at this first one, law, in the New Testament, when we see the G, that's Greek, 3551, which is nomos, and from a primary word to parcel out, law, generally regulation. So we have that right here in the New Testament. We go to the next one of law. In the Old Testament, we see H, that's Hebrew, 8451. And that word is Torah. A precept or statute, especially of the Decalogue or Pentateuch. Torah, law. So you have these things that we have to define here. We have another word for law in Hebrew, H4941, which is mishpat, properly a verdict pronounced judicially, especially a sentence or formal decree. So then now, look at commandment. Commandment in the Greek, G1785, in tole, that is an authoritative prescription, commandment, or precept. You start seeing the same words. Command and law is the same thing. So he has to attack the commandments if he's going to attack law. He cannot attack one and not attack the other. Commandment in Hebrew, H4687, mitzvah, a command, whether human or divine, which was commanded, law, ordinance, precept. So then we find the same words in law that we find in commandment. So you'll have people that will say, I believe in the commandments, but I don't fool with that crazy law. You do know it's the same thing, right? See, that's like them people who have the Last Supper on their wall. And you say, okay, so you deal with Passover. No, I don't do no crazy Passover. You do know that's Passover. That Last Supper, you do know that's Passover, right? No, it ain't just Last Supper. No, that's Passover. That's what's on your wall. But you see what happened when they can play with words? You see what happens there? Another word, commandment, H6310. Pay. This is the mouth, whether literally or figuratively. So then understand, originally those commandments were then spoken unto them. So we have to understand that the way these things are given out, he has to attack the commandment if he's going to attack the law. Now let's go to Romans chapter 7. See, the adversary, the devil, whenever you get close to the ending time, the plays always get much more aggressive. See, the Super Bowl about to come on. And let me tell you something. They're going to pull all the plays out the playbook. Now, you can't leave nothing. This is the final game. And as we start getting closer and closer to Lucifer making his pitch for the earth to worship him, you're about to see some plays come out the playbook that you ain't never seen before. Romans chapter 7, and let's read verses 12 through 14.
Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy.
Wait a minute now. He said that Satan is trying to get you to keep the law. Now, the apostle who taught all the people who eventually called themselves Christians, he said the law is holy. If he says that Satan is trying to get you to keep the law, then he's saying that the law is not holy. Go ahead.
Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. Was then that which is good made death unto me?
Mm-hmm.
Elohim forbid.
Right. So now, is there a problem with it? No. See, there's not a problem with the law. It never was. The problem was with us. See, we're the issue. Let's go to Romans chapter 13. And read verses 9 and 10.
Romans chapter 13 and verse 9. For this you shall not commit adultery.
Wait a minute now. If the devil is trying to get you to keep the law, and these commandments, we've already established that a commandment and a law is the same thing. So the commandment says, you shall not commit adultery. So now Satan is the one that's trying to get you to stop committing adultery. That don't even make sense. So Satan wants you to just sleep around. Look at your neighbor's wife. Look at her, boy. Going on there now. You ain't got to worry about no law. But this also came from a man who said you can sleep with everybody in the church and you still going to go to heaven. You're just going to lose things here on earth. It should have been a mass exodus at that point. You should have heard. Y'all saw that video where the white dude, the priest, the Jewish guy, was telling the other Jewish people that the true Jews were black. Did you hear the chairs in the background? They got the hell out of there. When the Jewish rabbis started telling them that the true Jews was black, they was like, oh, we out of here. Creflo tells them that they can sleep with everybody in the church and they still going to heaven. You don't hear not now chair move. You see us? We have all loyalty to all the wrong things. Them Jewish people, when they start talking about you, they got the hell on. This man said you can sleep with everybody in the church. Not one chair budged. See, there's a serious problem right there. You should have heard chairs. You should have heard all kind of stuff. We didn't budge. Go ahead, bro. Well, hey. I know y'all didn't hear that. He said they big expensive chairs so they don't make sound. They got a lot of cushion on them. Yeah, I know. He was there. He know what kind of chairs was in there. Yeah. Hey. But we have to make a decision. And decisions, it's always easy to just continue in what you're doing and in the way that you're doing it. It's always harder to step out of line than to just stay and move with the herd. And the herd not making any decisions. They just follow the person that's in front of them. Go ahead, bro.
You shall not kill. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not covet. And if there be any other commandment.
Any other commandment. So if there be any other law. See? If there is any other law. Go ahead.
It is briefly comprehended in this saying. Namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
So then it's Satan that is trying to cause a problem between you and this love. Satan is trying to get you to, why would he want you to love your neighbor as yourself? See, there's a serious issue right there. But once you have everything that you're ever going to want, once you got the $63 million plane, you got the big house, you got all of that, hey, let's go ahead and come all the way out the bag now. See? Go ahead.
Love works no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
Love is the fulfilling of the law, and it is this word that tells us how we are to love one another, which means keeping the commandments toward one another. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 13.
Where is he? 1304.
Yeah, right back. Okay. Hebrews 13 and read verse 4.
Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers Elohim will judge.
Now, the word says one thing. What the televangelist said was you can sleep with everybody and you still gonna go to heaven. So apparently heaven gonna be full of hoes. He said the marriage bed is undefiled. So there's a marriage covenant. God didn't tell you how to engage in sexual relations. He said who you can engage in relation with. Is there a covenant there? Is there a marriage there? Then that's legal. Are you married? No? Well, then that's illegal. Real simple. But you got one thing in this book, and then you have something else being said, that you can be a whoremonger and still go to heaven. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So it's two lies there. One lie was that you were going to heaven anyway. The second lie was that you can be a whoremonger. But we didn't hear not one chair move. We didn't hear not one peep when this lie was told. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that?
Yes.
Let's go to Isaiah chapter 42. Isaiah chapter 42, and let's read verse 21.
Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable.
He will magnify the law and make it honorable. Okay, this is Yahweh saying what he's going to do. Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. So righteousness is then directly connected to the law. See, what people are being told is, you still righteous no matter what you do. See? So this is why you have them lies that say, well, see, your body did that sin, but see, your soul is still righteous. What? What kind of mess is that? See, this is that game that's being played. So you committed the sin, but you really didn't commit it. That was your body that committed that sin. See, you still got a righteous soul inside. You believe that if you want to. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. See, so it says Yahweh is going to magnify the law. And we're going to show where he magnified the law. Now remember, as you read this, the Messiah said, unless your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven. Understand that the scribes and Pharisees are hypocrites. They say one thing and do something else. So let me show you the hypocrisy of this fight against the law. Matthew 5, and let's start that at verse 21.
You have heard it was said by them of old time, you shall not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Reka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
Now, did not Christ magnify that law? Before you had to commit the murder. Christ said, when you angry with a man without cause, you have already murdered him. He has magnified the law. So the very people that are walking around talking about you don't have to keep anything and that they love the Lord so much, here's his writing. And you have people walking around mad at people who have not done anything to them. When you ask them, what has that brother or sister done to you? Oh no, I just don't like them. Right. You just murdered that brother and that sister. You don't have a cause to be angry with them. Jump to verse 27.
You have heard that it was said by them of old time, you shall not commit adultery.
You didn't hear that at World Stainers. They don't tell you that. You can commit adultery. That's matter of fact. Keep reading.
But I say unto you, that whosoever looks on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart.
Now you don't see the law being magnified in that? See, this right here then puts responsibility on women for what clothing they wear. How you gonna walk out the house in some tights and some see-through clothing and not understand that you are enticing some brother? How much adultery has been committed in somebody's heart? See, now you have a responsibility when it comes down to what you put on. But they said, come as you are to church. So folk got on tight jeans and high heels, going to church with all the patootie hanging out. They move and giblets go everywhere. Yeah, wait, you need to be still. You need to be still. Do not move in here. You have caused a brother to commit adultery in his heart. See, now that is now the responsibility also of men when they let their wives go all out any old kind of way. I went to the bank and it was right at the window, and this sister was the branch manager. And she came up to the one and said, how can I help you? And it was like two twins was about to jump out. And they were just moving. I was like, and I'm sitting there like, I'm trying to fill out the paper. And I'm like, they keep talking to me. I can't. The hell is going on here? I don't put the wrong account number. I need, first of all, I'm having problems concentrating. I'm going to need you to take the twins back to the back and let me fill out my paper. I mean, they moving and she ain't. And she got a wedding ring on her hand. So now, I'm looking at a married woman. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 31.
Yeah, go ahead.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 31. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement.
It has been said. Now see, that's old covenant law. If y'all, for whatever reason, if y'all have irreconcilable differences, you snore too loud, she don't like the way your feet smell, and she like, I just can't deal with that Frito smell every night. I can't deal with it. I want out. Go ahead.
But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, save for the cause of fornication.
Now see, this is how the church deals constantly. Marriage, divorce, and all of them can be in the same congregation, and they still only count the one marriage that they have right now. But they done been married and divorced 4 or 5 times. But see, they got that funny math. They got that Christian count. See, when you count like a Christian, you can count 1 + 1 + 1, and I still ain't got but 1. Something wrong with that damn math. If I try to tell my child, all right, give me 1 + 1 + 1, my child know that's 3, Daddy. See? Now how the hell my little girl know how to count better than people who got PhD? They said, I've been married 1 + 1 + 1, and I ain't got but 1. That's a lie. Go tell that to somebody who don't know how to count. I know how to count. My mom taught me how to count a long time ago. Go ahead, bro.
Causes her to commit adultery.
Right. So now she committing adultery because you have divorced her and you didn't have a just cause to divorce her. Did she commit fornication? Was she engaged in some outside marital activity? No, I just didn't like her. She just evil. Well, wasn't she evil when you married her? Yeah, well, I wasn't looking at that side. Right. Right. Read, man.
And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits adultery.
Now, you got an unsuspecting person who is now committing adultery. And they said, well, no, I'm not committing adultery. I got a marriage certificate. Look at it right there on the wall. Yeah. But according to Christ, she married to that dude over there. So you committing adultery. See, these things, when people start talking about that law, and they start talking about all these things, the hypocrisy of it all is they're keeping the law of dealing with marriage according to the Old Testament, while they tell you Lucifer's trying to get you to keep the law. Here's the law right here in the New Testament that Christ has given, and that law is magnified way over Moshe's law. It's easy to follow Moshe's law. Every time y'all get into an argument, bill of divorce. I'm out. Go get me another wife. You know what? You make me sick. I'm out. Here's your people. And let me go marry somebody else. Christ said, no. That ain't gonna work. Now y'all gonna work it out. Then y'all make a covenant. Well, y'all gonna work it out. See? It's easier to keep Moshe's law when it comes down to divorce. And that's what the church does. It is hypocrisy. It is utter hypocrisy. Christ says something altogether different. He has magnified that law, and they act like they don't see it there. Did you finish that up, bro?
Yeah.
As it was spoken by the Messiah in Luke chapter 16 and verse 31. And he said unto him, if they hear not Moshe and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23. See, if you won't hear the Old Testament or the New Testament, we have to then ask a question. What testament do you believe in? See, the adversary, the devil got churches too. It says if his ministers has been transformed into ministers of light, well, don't think you're going to go to a church and it's going to say, Church of Satan, come on in. No, it ain't going to say that. You're going to have to watch the attributes of it to see if it is a church of Satan or not. You're going to have to watch, listen to what comes out of their mouth and compare it to what's written in this book and see if that is a minister of Satan or not. And here's the problem. Some of the people don't know that they're servants of Satan. The head leaders, they know they worship the adversary of the devil. But there's a lot of other people in there that have no idea. Matthew chapter 23, and let's start that at verse 23.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
Right. See, so the Pharisees were hypocrites because they push all the things of tithing so that they can get rich, but then left out all the other matters of the law. What Creflo say? He says Satan trying to get you to keep the law, right? But then he turned around and said, if you don't pay tithe, you should be lined up in front of a firing squad and shot with a Uzi. So that is not only law, that is also judgment. But it's only about tithing. Ain't that the same hypocrisy that he just said about the Pharisees? So they was all about pomp and circumstance and getting that money. Same things they doing today. The only law they push is tithing. Anytime you talk about the Old Testament, they throw it out. Yet, tithing is in the Old Testament. It is a part of the law. It is how the priests are supposed to be taken care of. But there's a serious problem if that's the only law that you're dealing with. Then you're a hypocrite like the scribes and Pharisees. And what did he say? Unless your righteousness goes over theirs, you ain't getting in here. Go ahead.
You just touched on something about the tithes being for the priests, and that's what people don't understand. The tithes belong to the priest, and the offering is for the service of the church. That's why he's pushing tithes and not offerings.
Exactly. Tithes go directly to him. He ain't got to split that with nobody. Offerings go to pay the light bill. Tithe is directly here. That's why in the old church I used to go to, they had a separate tithing line. They had an offering line and a tithe. And if you got in the tithing line, you got a special song. Oh, I was like, what the hell going on in here? My tithers, my tithers. And I was like, what in the hell? They had a whole nother, and then the song was long too, so you had enough time to walk all the way down to the front, and people dancing. They waited the tithe, and then you drop it in. Yep. I was so pissed. I looked up and saw Rebecca in that line. I said, what the hell? Didn't I just pay her rent? What the hell going on? How the hell is she up there? What the hell going on here? Right. See, he knew the difference between the tithe and the offering, so he separated the offering. So all them, see, you didn't pay attention to that. All them buckets went one way. Then the offering bucket went another way. All the tithe was his. Thank you for bringing that up, bro. Thank you for bringing it. Sometimes you forget what you done talk. I appreciate that. that needed to be right here. That needed to be right here. That was the right thing at the right time. Appreciate that. Go ahead.
All tithes was always done
Yeah.
So what else left over went to the offering?
There you go. Tithe was done first. It lets you know. Take care of the priest first. And a lot of people don't know that's what the tithe go directly to the priest. That those are his. So the rest of the things, they can't say nothing to him about what he pull out of that bucket. That's all his. But see, when you don't understand the law, people are making you serve the law without explaining to you what it is you're doing. So you don't even understand that the tithe is going directly to him. You think, well, I'm taking care of my church. No, that's what the offering does. Right. See, folk been playing games with you. See? But you know what we do? We get mad at the people who tell us the truth. We don't have so much hate mail on this sermon. We're going to have to just shut the email down for a second. See? So who they going to get mad at? Me. They don't get mad at the dude that's been fleecing them. They don't get mad at me. That's like the folk when they get caught doing something, they get mad at everybody else. Like, oh man, I would have got away with it if you wouldn't have been up in the morning, looking early in the morning out the window. Oh, so it's my fault I was looking out in my my driveway as you began to try to steal my vehicle. This is my fault? Right. Go ahead, man. Did you finish that?
Judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought you to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
So when you left the other things undone, you entered into hypocrisy. Go ahead.
You blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel.
You can't get no more upside down than that. You strain out a gnat and swallow a camel? Go ahead.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess.
Full of extortion and excess. It used to be that everybody had on the little church robes, the pastor wore the robe. But when them $1,000 Italian suits got into play, that robe had to come off. Look at me. Full of extortion and excess. When you go to church and the pastor start bragging about his $5,000 dog. Bragging about his plane. Bragging about the thing. Full of extortion, extorting the people, and excess, and we love to hear it. Go ahead.
You know, even with that, you know, the rappers got the magazine with the rappers in all their cars.
Uh-huh.
When the priests are in there with their planes in their cars, extortion, excess, bragging.
Right. And you know who I saw in the stars in their cars section? Creflo was in there right with the rest of the rappers. All the rappers in there, Creflo in there. What the hell you doing in here? He was in the stars in their cars section in the magazine with the rest of the rappers. Boy, we are some sick and twisted people. And we think that's cool. Did you see that Bentley my pastor had? Did you see that? Right. Go ahead.
You blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also.
Uh-huh.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness.
Right. So we know that the dead bones are unclean. You still can go past churches where the cemetery is done there in the parking lot. It's one right down the street. Well, you got to walk through the cemetery to get to the front door of the church. Read, man.
Even so you also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity.
You are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. That's what iniquity is, lawlessness. And they're trying to tell you the law is done away with. Why is Christ talking about you full of lawlessness then? Go ahead.
That was it.
That was it. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6. See, we have to make a decision on what it is we're going to do. They said, hey, if you trying to deal with the law, then you must be in some kind of cult. Was that dude that claimed he got the letter from yeah, whatever his name is. I'd say I already didn't believe that anyway. But then he said, if you trying to keep the dietary law, you must be in some kind of cult. See, if that ain't about some mess, Joel Osteen said he been keeping the dietary law for 2 years, hadn't told nobody in his congregation. First thing you do when you go to the doctor, and they give you a checkup, the first thing they tell you, you need to stop eating that pork. I could have told you that. You didn't have to get old and wait until your neck get all thick and you're breathing slow. You didn't have to wait until then. I could have told you that a long time ago. Yahweh said that's unclean. That's not fit to be eaten. See? But he gonna tell you that somebody wrote him a letter. So they wrote a letter to an avid pork eater. Now these people supposed to be Middle Eastern people, understand now. But they sent a letter to the avid pork eater telling him, all these so-called great things. And my whole thing was, what is the purpose of sending you the letter? What you gonna do? Who are you? If they just want to send something to a place with a lot of people, they could have sent it to any. There are many mega congregations around. Why they send it to you? 1 Corinthians chapter 6, let's start that at verse 1.
Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints?
Now wait a minute. So I need y'all to understand something. Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust? So instead of going to the court, the county court, if you have a matter against somebody in the church, you should go to law before the saints. Wait a minute. So I need for you to understand something. So then there should be a court of law in the church. So you have to think about the hypocrisy and the evil that is spoken when it says that Satan is trying to get you to keep the law. Because according to this, we should have a court of law set up to deal with issues amongst one another. Instead of going down to DeKalb County, going down to whatever place and putting a lawsuit against another member of the church, there's supposed to be court proceedings in the church. How you gonna have court proceedings without law? Go ahead, brother.
Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world?
Okay. How the saints gonna judge the world if there is no law? Now, do you know how one becomes a lawyer? No, becomes a judge. They first operate in law for a while, and they learn law to the fullest. Then they get to be appointed to be a judge. So if you have all these people in the church who believe that they're not subject to the law, how do you then judge somebody and you've not dealt with the law at all? How you gonna be in charge of something you don't know nothing about? That's like making me the manager of the pharmacy. Brother, have you ever worked in a pharmacy before? Well, no, but I know that's albuterol. Let's do it. All right. It's going to be sick people everywhere. You understand what I'm saying to you? Go ahead, bro.
And if the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
Mm-hmm.
Know you not that we shall judge angels?
Now what we going to judge the angels by? The law. See? But they telling you that anybody who keep this law must be directed by Satan. Wait a minute. The saints got to do all this judging. Go ahead.
How much more things that pertain to this life? If then you have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge, or at least esteemed in the church. I speak to your shame. Is it so that there is not a wise man among you? No, not one that shall be able to judge between his brethren?
Uh-huh.
But brother goes to law with brother, and that before the unbeliever.
Right. So then instead of dealing with things among a court among ourselves, we'll then go among the heathens and tell the heathens to judge between two believers. Go ahead.
Now therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because you go to law one with another.
Uh-huh. Right. So the same people that tell you that it ain't no law be the same ones to go down to the court and file a lawsuit against you. The law is nailed to the cross. You stole my Mercedes. Wait a minute, brother. I thought you said it wasn't no law. If it ain't no law, this Mercedes is ours. I want to drive it on Monday. I'll be back around here and I'll let you know. It's our Benz. Yeah, right. Let's see how well that go over. Go ahead, bro.
Why do you not rather take wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded?
Right. You said ain't no law. Why don't you just take wrong then? You catch a brother climbing out your window? Why you getting angry? It ain't no law. Ain't no adultery. Maybe him and your wife were just playing naked Uno or something. Right. What you mad for? Right. Hypocrisy. Go ahead.
No, you do wrong, and defraud, and that your brethren.
Mm-hmm.
Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim?
Right. The unrighteous shall not inherit. But yet, you got people saying that, hey, you can do whatever you want all over the church. You still gonna go to heaven. See, that's a lie. Go ahead.
Be not deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind.
Right. Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim? They tell you that you can come as you are, you can do whatever you want, and you still gonna go to heaven, and you ain't got to change nothing about yourself. The effeminate, they can go, and you know, when you look around and get to their choir, the choir director be the gayest dude that you don't ever say. He not regular gay, he like super gay. See, when you get to the super gay, they have to be more womanly than any woman. You don't find no woman doing all this. Yet you got all this going on, and they letting you know when they sing that they got a different thought process. But see, because the church is 501c3, they can't say not one thing about it. And the first one of them that deny the church a gay marriage and decide that gay couple decide that they're going to sue them, they're going to end up paying out a whole bunch of money. Because by accepting all of them grants and accepting all of those things being 501c3, they cannot deny those people that gay wedding. So on one hand, they praising Obama, but secretly they hoping Trump save them. Because Trump was the one saying that he was going to do some things about this. So you got black pastors that's actually secretly hoping Trump do a little something so they don't have to perform all them gay marriages. Mm-hmm. So they jumping back and forth in between that thing. So they accept this money, but there's something that goes along with accepting that money. You have to ask yourself, why is it every time somebody running for office that you have some candidates standing in front of the church? How you get in here? Who gave you the microphone? He's getting 501c3 money. A government grant help build this building. We can come in here whenever the hell we want. Right. And that's what people don't know. Go ahead, bro.
Nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
And such were some of you. But you are washed, but you are sanctified, but you are justified in the name of the Adonai Yahshua and by the Spirit of our Elohim.
Jump to verse 18.
Flee fornication. Every sin that a man does is without the body, but he that commits fornication sins against his own body.
Not what they said on Sunday morning. He said your soul committed that. See, your soul slept with that woman. No, I'm pretty sure I seen his body in there. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't just his soul. Right. But then we have to go through something else. Because in dealing with one side of this and dealing with this whole thing of the falsehood that is Satan that's pushing the law, we then allow some other things to take place. Now, when we look at out of a 2018 list of top so-called religions of the world, we get to, and I just pulled a few of these out of here. Judaism is number 6 on the list with 20 million followers, which is 0.3% of the total population. These are the most things that our people have been, kind of dealing with. The next one is Buddhism, and it's number 4 with 400 million people that deal with it, and that's 7% of the total population. Then we get down to number 2, which is Islam. They have 1.6 billion followers, which is 23% of the total population. And we all know who number 1 is. That is Christianity with 2.3 billion followers, which is 32% of the total population of Earth. Okay? So I say that so you can understand how the devil will try to give you low self-esteem. I had a brother tell me that, if you a Hebrew brother and you don't speak Hebrew, you are becoming the minority. Did y'all hear or see any of them slides that just said 2.3 billion people? Understand how many of us are in that number. These are the religions of the world that have the lost sheep of Israel tied up in it. And none of those people speak Hebrew. But the adversary, the devil, will try anything to give you low self-esteem. Now, it is written in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 12 that there are those that measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves to themselves. So they will tell you that you are in this minority to try and give you some kind of low self-esteem about your heritage and the things that belong to you. Let's go to Luke chapter 15. Luke chapter 15, and we're going to read verses 1 through 10 so that we can see what the Messiah was about. Because see, when folks get stuck in their own little circle, they start thinking that the only things that are important are the things in their little circle. Yahshua was all about the lost sheep. If you're in the process of learning Hebrew, you ain't no lost sheep. You got 20,000 people in one place. They need to hear the truth in the language that they understand. Luke chapter 15, and let's start that at verse 1.
Then drew near unto him all the publicans and sinners for to hear him. And the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, This man receives sinners and eats with them. And he spake this parable unto them, saying, What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he lose one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after that which is lost until he finds it?
Right. This whole thing is about gathering the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is what the Messiah said in the beginning. Don't go to all those people. Go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Our people are lost in Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, going to proclaim and letting somebody else rule over us in our own culture. That's where the lost sheep are. Go ahead.
And when he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And when he comes home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying unto them, Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. I say unto you that likewise joy shall be in heaven over one sinner that repents, more than over 99 just persons which need not repentance.
Right. So instead of spending all our time trying to teach Hebrew, what we're going to do is spend our time trying to go find these lost sheep so that we can have rejoicing in heaven. See? The heavens don't rejoice every time we teach a root word. The heavens don't rejoice when you learn how to say Shabbat. But the heavens rejoice when you go get one of them lost sheep and explain to them who they are and what Yahweh expects out of them. That's when the heavens rejoice. And don't let now one of these slick, fast-talking devils tell you otherwise. When you get one of them slick, fast-talking devils in front of you, the faster that devil talk, the slower you respond. That's how you deal with a fast talker. Let me think about it, bro. Because see, what the fast-talking, slick devil wants you to do is make a decision before you think about it. And then they're going to use your own integrity against you. Because see, once you answer without thinking, they're all right, brother. No, you said you were going to do it. You said you were going to do it. No, hold on now. You already said you're going to do it. See? So now they've gotten you to agree before you actually thought about it. Then they're going to use your integrity to hold you to it. So be careful when you get them slick-talking devils in front of you. Go ahead.
Verse 8, either what woman having 10 pieces of silver, if she lose one piece, does not light a candle and sweep the house and seek diligently till she find it. And when she has found it, she calls her friends and her neighbors together, saying, rejoice with me, for I have found the piece which I had lost. Likewise, I say unto you, there's joy in the presence of the angels of Elohim over one sinner that repents.
So not only is there rejoicing in heaven, you're going to have joy among the angels of Elohim when you help get a sinner to repent. See, but the adversary, the devil, wants you to spend all your time in other areas. See? Because he knows what's pleasing unto Yahweh. But if he can get you to spend all your time dealing with something else, then he can make sure that you don't get an opportunity to please Yahweh, your Elohim. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50. See, understand something when you're dealing with the adversary, that he knows the whole story. So don't get it twisted and think that he has not educated his ministers on how to deal with things and how to gainsay. There's an automatic drive in us to want to serve Yahweh our Elohim. And the slick talkers use that against us. There's something in you, and you never could explain it, that you want to have love in you for your Creator. You just didn't know who he was or how to serve him. So without knowing that, we did it with all emotion. So we thought if we shout loud enough, if we cry hard enough, if we run and jump over these pews like we're some kind of track star, that will show God how much we love him. There's always been that thing in you, and you never could figure it out. Because that's what we're supposed to be about. But these slick talkers have then used that they know is inside of us. They used it against us. And used that to make themselves rich. Jeremiah chapter 50, and let's read verses 1 through 7.
The word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare you among the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Murdoch is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there comes up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast.
And we know that Russia has already influenced the election here in America. So basically, they wanted to make sure that they got a person in that it would be easier for them to destroy it. They are much better with Trump being in the office than with Hillary. Hillary killed all of us. They are much better having Trump there. He automatically has Russian connections. They already knew it was better to do that. But America been doing the same thing all over the world, influencing everybody's elections. The people that have been in power in the Middle East were people that America put there. You have to ask yourself, how did bin Laden become such a problem to America? Who you think trained him? Who you think put him in power? Who you think put Saddam there? See? But once those people then don't do what America asked them to do, then they go to war with them. So you can't blame Russia. America been doing the same thing. Influencing everybody else's election, put in a puppet ruler, and as soon as that ruler don't do what they want him to do, it's time to go to war so we can put somebody else in there. But now, her chickens done came home to roost, and the very thing that she been doing to everybody else has now been done to her. And this man is isolating America. People backing further and further away from America. On BBC, they said America first may end up being America alone. They are already saying they're not sharing information with this president because he don't know how to stay off Twitter. So they ain't never seen no old man do Twitter like young people. You know, them young people get up in the morning, they have to tell you everything. I done got up. Just got through brushing my teeth. Just washed my face. I think I'm gonna jump in the shower. Holler back. What? Why in the hell do we need to know everything that you are doing? It's one thing to have a 17-year-old that acts like that, but to have a 70-year-old that's posting everything that they doing, just took my Geritol. Holler back. The hell is wrong with you? And he helping all of this come to pass. Go ahead.
Verse 4. In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Yehudah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahweh, their Elohim. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces to the word.
They shall ask the way to Zion. They don't know the way to Zion. They trying to figure out where Zion is. But see, some people say they so slick, we're going to already be there. If you that one of them armies there, you're going to be in some serious trouble. You better find a way to get the hell out of there. Go ahead.
Saying, come, and let us join ourselves to Yahweh in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. So these people that we've been letting teach us, that were also educated by the rulers of the world or indoctrinated by the rulers of the world, these are the reasons why we have been gone astray. They have purposely miseducated us. And we can see that even with the way school has gone. There used to be a home ec where people learn how to do certain things in the house. They used to have a wood shop where men learn how to work on cars. Then you got grown men that don't know how to check oil. They used to do that stuff in school. They had welding in school. I remember them saying, hey man, don't look at this light. Don't look directly at this. Kids don't even know how to write cursive no more. So they sign their name in regular block letters. I said, man, what the hell is that? That's my signature. That's not a signature. That's a printed name. They don't teach kids how to write cursive. There's something seriously wrong. This place is degrading worse and worse and worse. But because we get money, we want to turn a blind eye to the degradation. Go ahead.
They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them have devoured them.
All that found them have devoured them. Right. Give me your money and I'm going to give you a good prophecy. Right. Devouring us. Pay $1,000 and you can come down to the front of the church and receive your very own prophet lie. I ain't innocent. I paid $1,000 to get one of them too. I ain't no better. Go ahead.
And their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against Yahweh,
Mm-hmm.
the habitation of justice,
Right.
even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers.
They said, we haven't seen. Hey, these people put themselves in that situation. So let's go ahead and rule over these people. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 5. Isaiah chapter 5, and we're going to read verses 16 through 24. See, Yahshua didn't care nothing about calling out the scribes and Pharisees. He didn't care nothing about going in there and flipping over them tables and saying that my Father's house is not a house of merchandise. He didn't care nothing about making those cords and twisting them around and driving them out of his Father's house. But we have to make a decision. If we're going to call evil good and good evil, then we're going to go down with them. You are only as righteous as the wickedness that you allow to happen. Just like they said, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Isaiah chapter 5, and let's start that at verse 16.
But Yahweh of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and Elohim that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Woe unto them that draw lawlessness with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope.
Right. They just carry it behind them like we ain't even got to hide it. See? Because, hey, he told us we can sleep with everybody. We still going to go to heaven. So ain't no need of hiding it. Go ahead.
That say, let him make speed, and hasten his work, that we may see it. And let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw near and come, that we may know it.
Right. Like they ready for that. Go ahead.
Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil.
Right. When you decide to say that it's Satan that's trying to get you to keep the law, you gonna call good evil and evil good? There's something seriously wrong there. Go ahead.
That put darkness for light, and light for darkness. That put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter.
Uh-huh.
Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Therefore as the fire devours the stubble, and the flame consumes the shaft,
Right.
so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of Yahweh of hosts.
Because they did what?
Cast away the law of Yahweh of hosts,
Oh, okay.
and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel.
So when they cast away the law, they despised the word of the Holy One. Right. Now let's go verify that in the New Testament. Let's go to Romans chapter 8. See? Because see, you got those that say they're not going to listen to nothing that come out of the Old Testament unless it's talking about tithing. They don't want to hear it. Don't talk to me about that old covenant. We under the new covenant. Okay. All right. Romans chapter 8, and let's read verses 1 through 8.
There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in the Mashiach Yahshua, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit.
Right. And we can read the things about what walking after the flesh is. So if somebody tells you that you can be a whoremonger and ain't nothing gonna happen to you, those people are setting you up for death. Go ahead.
For the law of the Spirit of life in the Mashiach Yahshua has made me free from the law of sin and death.
And if you're not careful, somebody gonna take that and twist that scripture. The law of the Spirit of life in the Mashiach Yahshua has made me free from the law of sin and death. Not all law. The law of sin and death. What is the law of sin and death? Whenever you commit a sin, something had to die. Sacrifice. Sacrificial law is all he's dealing with. It goes specifically in telling you what law. The law of sin and death. Whenever there was a sin, blood had to be shed to make an atonement for that sin. That is sin and then death. Every time a sin was committed, death had to happen. Sin, death. Sin, death. Sin, sacrifice. Sin, sacrifice. He has made you free from that. That don't mean you can go steal your neighbor's car. Read, man.
For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Elohim sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh.
Yep.
But they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit.
So we have to be careful what things we put our attention on. Go ahead.
For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
So to be carnally minded is death. So there's a certain thought process that just puts us in a deathly understanding, in a deathly walk. Go ahead.
Because the carnal mind is enmity against Elohim.
Right.
For it is not subject to the law of Elohim, neither indeed can be.
The carnal mind is an adversary against Elohim, for it is not subject to the law. Listen, I don't have to do nothing about this law. I'm not subject to the law. So don't talk to me about your legalism. Don't talk to me about the holy days. Don't talk to me about the Sabbath. Don't talk to me about I can't eat smothered and covered. Because they don't believe they are subject to the law. So in other words, they don't accept the king. He said, you ain't going to rule over me. Right. Then you have chosen the adversary, the devil. Go ahead.
Verse 8. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Elohim.
Right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. See? The only people that believe that they are not subject to the law are criminals. Matthew chapter 10. And let's read verses 21 through 25.
And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endures to the end shall be saved.
But he that endures to the end shall be saved. You shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. Go ahead.
But when they persecute you in this city, flee you into another. For verily I say unto you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his master. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call him of his household?
Right.
Call them of his household.
Right.
Pardon.
If they done call him Lord of the Flies, Master Beelzebub, then they gonna call us the same things. They gonna say worse things about us. So don't consider it some bad thing. Do understand? They said all kind of things against Christ. They said he's that leader of the sect of the Nazarenes. In other words, they accuse him of being a cult leader. So why you think it's a strange thing that they accuse you of being in a cult? Oh, you got somebody telling you what you can't eat? Oh, you in a cult. See, my God has cleansed everything for me. Right? So why the doctor told you to stop eating it? Told you it was making you sick. Let's go to Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4 and verses 5 through 8, and let us hear the conclusion of this matter.
And the devil, taking him up into an high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him,
Now, and the devil taking him up into a high mountain showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time, showing him how much power he has. See, now if you want to be have some power here on earth, I can show you how to get power here on earth. Let me show you all these kingdoms. Go ahead.
And the devil said unto him, All this power will I give you, and the glory of them, for that it is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it.
See, I don't think the accidental worshipers of Satan have considered that. Everybody believes that whenever they get something, whatever they've received, that it has come from God Almighty, that it has come from the Creator of all things. It has never crossed anybody's mind that Lucifer is able to give gifts, that he's able to give money, that he's able to give power, circumstance, houses, blessings. It has never come to anybody's mind that they may have received good things from a bad entity. He says, all of this is delivered unto me. Who gave it to him? Yahweh did. He had a job to do. He just decided he wasn't going to do the job. And to whomsoever I will, I give it. So I have the ability to give blessings. So this is all you hear. I've been blessed. I've been blessed. I've been blessed. Lucifer has that ability. Go ahead.
If you therefore will worship me, and all shall be yours.
If you shall worship me. All we heard was praise and worship. Sometimes we go to church and the book didn't even open. We just sung and danced the whole time. That's what the adversary wants. Praise and worship. Yahweh says, if you do this, I will do that. What the church is doing now is telling you that all of these things are not conditional. That you can do whatever you want, and God still has to bless you. That is a teaching from Satan. Go ahead.
And Yahshua answered and said unto him, Get you behind me, Satan, for it is written, You shall worship the Adonai, your Elohim, and him only shall you serve.
You see how Yahshua throw servitude in there? But the adversary, the devil, said absolutely nothing about serving. What he talked about was worship. And that's what we were pushed to. Praise and worship all the time. Praise and worship, praise and worship, praise and worship, praise and worship. Nothing about serving. So when this thing came to Yahshua, he automatically took the worship, but then he automatically added that servitude in there. So don't try to come and twist the word with me. Now, if the adversary of the devil is so bad that he could go to the son of Elohim and try to twist the word, who the hell are we? If he bold enough to try to twist the word, do you understand? Just like the adversary was there, so was Israel, who's dwelling in this body of Yahshua. These two know each other. So if he can try to twist the word with him, what do you think he can do with us? So we have to keep some things in perspective. In Revelation 12 and verse 17, it says, and the dragon was angry with the woman that and went to make war. This woman is Israel. And went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahshua. So, while you got televangelists telling you that it's Satan that's trying to get you to keep the law, Satan, in his trickery, is telling his ministers to push this doctrine. Meanwhile, the ones that he's coming to war with are the ones who keep the commandments. So he's not worried about all of those who don't keep the commandments, because they have already chosen him, whether they know it or not. So in other words, the televangelist is trying to get you to worship Satan and trying to get you to follow Satan without telling you that that is what you are doing. Keep your whole armor on, Israel, because the tribulation and all of these things are about to pick up. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.